Not everyone who listens to you supports you, some are just learning how to stop you. Welcome to Career Canvas Power, where transformation becomes your identity. Here, we turn knowledge into real power for your life. Imagine you are playing a game, but nobody tells you the rules. Everyone smiles, everyone talks politely, everyone looks normal, but beneath that surface, something else is happening. People are watching you, not just seeing you, studying you. They are trying to understand your direction, your ambition, your next move. Because the moment they understand what you want, the moment your intention becomes clear, you become predictable. And the moment you become predictable, you become controllable. This is the hidden reality most people never see. And this is where Law 3 begins: conceal your intentions. There was a man named Larry. He was sharp, ambitious, and full of potential. Not the loud type, but the kind of person who had plans, real plans. He wanted to grow fast, rise above others, and build something meaningful. But like most people, he believed in one simple idea: if you are honest and open, people will support you. So he spoke. He shared his ideas with colleagues, discussed his strategies with friends, hinted his ambitions to seniors. He thought transparency would build trust, and trust would protect him. In the beginning, everything felt right. People appreciated him. They listened carefully. They said, "You think ahead, you have vision." Some even encouraged him, pushing him to aim higher. Larry felt confident. He believed he was moving faster because he was open. But slowly, something invisible started happening. The same people who once encouraged him began behaving differently. Some started asking deeper questions, not to help, but to understand his direction. Some started offering advice that slowly redirected him. A few quietly began working on similar ideas. And some, without saying anything, started placing obstacles in his path. Opportunities he expected slipped away. Ideas he shared appeared in someone else's execution. Situations that should have favored him turned against him. Larry was confused. He was working hard. He was being honest. Then why was he losing ground? Because without realizing it, he had given away the most valuable thing he had, his intention. The moment people understood what he wanted, they didn't need to guess him anymore. They could predict him. And once they could predict him, they could act before him. Some defended themselves against his plans. Some used his direction for their own advantage. Some simply made sure he never reached the position he aimed for. Not always out of hatred, but out of self-interest. Because in reality, people are not just observing you, they are adjusting themselves according to you. One evening, after another silent setback, Larry met an older man. A man who didn't speak much, but when he did, his words felt precise. Larry shared everything: his plans, his openness, his confusion. And then he asked a simple question: "What am I doing wrong?" The old man looked at him for a moment and said, "You are making yourself easy to defeat." Larry felt a shock inside. "How?" The man replied calmly, "You are telling people your intentions. You are showing them your future, before it happens. You are removing uncertainty. And uncertainty is your greatest weapon." Larry stayed silent. The man continued, "Understand this clearly. The moment your plan is understood, it is already under attack. Not always openly, but quietly. People will prepare. They will adjust. They will move in ways you cannot see. And you will feel like the world is against you, when in reality, you revealed too much." That night, Larry understood something most people never understand. Visibility invites resistance. From the next day, he changed. Not emotionally, strategically. He did not stop working hard. He did not stop thinking big. But he stopped explaining himself. When people asked about his plans, he gave simple, incomplete answers. When they tried to understand his direction, he showed them something that looked real, but was not his core focus. He didn't lie blindly, he directed attention. Because he realized something powerful: people don't see truth, they see what you show them. This is where the real shift happened. Larry stopped trying to be understood. Instead, he started shaping what others understood. If he was working on something important, he would casually talk about something less important. If he was moving fast, he would appear relaxed. If he had clarity, he would show a little confusion. Not enough to look weak, but enough to create uncertainty. This is not just hiding. This is misdirection. A smokescreen. People began forming opinions about him again. Some thought he was distracted. Some believed he had lost focus. Some underestimated him completely, and that was exactly the position of power he needed. Because while they were watching the surface, they missed the depth. This is the psychology behind the law. People rely on appearances. They trust what they see, what they hear, what fits their expectations. They rarely look deeper, and that means perception is something you can design. It is not something you leave to chance. Larry understood this fully. He started using controlled honesty. He shared small truths, harmless ones. He admitted minor weaknesses. He spoke simply, clearly, even innocently. People started trusting him more than before. They felt comfortable around him. They stopped questioning him deeply. And that is where the real advantage begins. Because the best deception does not look like deception. It looks natural. It looks honest. It feels real. Behind that appearance, Larry was calculating everything. Watching reactions, studying behavior, moving step by step, without noise, without announcement. And slowly, results began to appear. Not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly. Projects he worked on succeeded. Positions he aimed for came closer. Opportunities opened at the right time. And people around him were surprised. They would say, "We didn't even know you were working on this." And that was the point. If they had known, they would have reacted. If they had understood, they would have adjusted. If they had predicted, they would have interfered. But they couldn't, because Arav had removed predictability. He had broken patterns. Earlier, people could read him. His behavior was consistent. His thinking was visible. But now, there was no clear pattern. Sometimes he moved fast, sometimes slow. Sometimes he agreed, sometimes he stayed neutral. There was no fixed rhythm. And when there is no pattern, there is no control. This is what makes unpredictability powerful. People around him began feeling uncertain. Not threatened, but unsure. They couldn't define him anymore. And without realizing it, they started respecting him more. Not because he demanded it, but because he became difficult to understand. And people respect what they cannot easily control. This is the deeper layer of Law 3. It is not just about hiding plans. It is about controlling perception. It is about deciding what others know, and what they don't. It is about understanding that in any environment, workplace, business, relationships, once your intention becomes clear, others gain the ability to respond to it. And response reduces your advantage. Most people make a simple mistake. They believe talking about their goals gives them strength. They announce their plans. They share their vision. They express every step they are about to take. And they feel powerful doing it. But in reality, they are exposing themselves. Because the more people know about your direction, the more they can position themselves around it. Some will compete directly. Some will copy. Some will block. And most of the time, you will never even see it happening. That is why power prefers silence. Not empty silence, strategic silence. Not absence of communication, control of communication. Larry never became distant. He never became cold. He remained social, approachable, even friendly. But internally, he became precise. Every word had a purpose. Every revelation was measured. Every action had layers. He understood one final truth. You are not just living your life, you are being interpreted by others. And if you don't control that interpretation, someone else will. Years later, when Larry reached the position he once dreamed of, people described his success as sudden. They said he came out of nowhere. They said he was underestimated. But the reality was different. He was always moving. They just never saw how. Because the most powerful moves are the ones that are not understood until they are complete. So as you move forward in your own life, understand this deeply. Not everything you think should be spoken. Not every goal should be announced. Not every intention should be visible. Let people see what is useful for them to see. Let them believe what is comfortable for them to believe. And while they are focused on the visible, you build what is invisible. Because the moment your intention becomes clear, it becomes vulnerable. And the moment you control what others perceive, you control the game. Conceal your intentions. Not by disappearing, but by directing attention. Not by silence alone, but by strategy. Not by fear, but by awareness. Because in the end, power does not belong to the one who speaks the most. It belongs to the one who has understood the least, until it is too late. Thank you. Remember, real power comes from understanding and applying. Stay connected with Career Canvas Power, your transformation continues.